Okay. Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming online to our webinar today. My name is Kevin Grundy. I'm a licensed medical herbalist. I specialise in Western herbal medicine and nutritional health. I'm a member of the New Zealand Association of Medical Herbalists. I'm also a proud member of the American Herbalists Guild. As I said, I specialise in Western herbal medicine. I'm a Youngevity 3-star executive, and I'm an independent distributor. So today's talk is on winter immune support. Unfortunately, Youngevity have an awesome product. The whole philosophy behind Youngevity is about supporting the immune system. But today we're going to talk about one of their products called the Seasonal Immune Support Pack. This is a multi-pack with several components in it. So where does the winter immune sit in our 4 categories? I think that's a common question people have asked me over the period of time. Where do these sorts of flus and things come into it? Well, when you think about it, our immunity, if you've heard me talk on previous talks, I talk about how the immune system is born in the digestion system. 85% of our whole immune system is born there. And so we can see when we get a disruption there, it's going to give us a problem. So flus and common things like that, as you can see in this diagram, H, immune support problems, getting sick easily, okay, and allergies. So it fits under digestion. So let's have a look at digestion. Okay, so many things affect the immune. So I've talked about in the past about how the digestion is responsible for these seasonal allergies. We end up with inflammation caused through whatever food or pollens or various things or viruses or bacteria, but we get these flus and they create a perfect breeding ground in the respiratory system, and we get a cold and a flu will grow from that. And so the products we have available help support this area of our body. So the Seasonal Immune Pack, it's a pretty important, awesome pack. It provides your immune system with extra support during times of need, I suppose. It's a powerful supply of nutrients to support the immune. It's got zinc. It's got a product called an Immune. There's no N in it, so it's Immune 911. Now, Immune 911 is not available in New Zealand as a standalone item. You can, however, buy it directly out of the state if you're using your U-Shop or your Shopmate, okay? But it's not one which at this stage is permitted to be sold in New Zealand. However, we are able to put it or sell it with the Immune Pack. And the Immune 911 is an awesome product, as I'll explain later. We have another product called CFX, that's our vitamin C. There's another component called Biotic, that is our antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal product that works really well. And of course, there is a specific or a specialized vitamin C that just goes with this pack. Vitamin C, we don't sell vitamin C as such, but we do sell CFX. But this pack has both. It has CFX and vitamin C as an extra boost. And that's because when you have, when you get the cold or flu, you need somewhere in the vicinity of 5,000 to 6,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day. That's quite high. So we're looking at trying to get it at various angles. So zinc. Zinc is a great one for boosting the immune system. It combines the immune boosting of zinc and a proprietary blend and some trace minerals as well. So it's not just zinc. Like everything else Youngevity sells, it's not one component. Even though it says zinc on the bottle, you will not find a product under Youngevity with just one component. You'll always have other cofactors to help it work in the body. So zinc is needed in small amounts, hence trace amounts, just to maintain your daily important functions. So zinc can increase the immunity to fight colds. It's a powerful antioxidant. It helps balance blood sugars. How well is that? Okay, that's really good. Aids in nutrition absorption, again, and digestion. Supports liver health, again, digestion, and it helps with muscle and growth repair. And so you can see it's a good all-round. Zinc is not just a mineral which you see in our 90 for life. It has a lot of other factors attached to it. And I suppose the immune aspect of it is probably where we know it the most. I'm going to call it Immune because that's what it is, Immune 911. So this is a blend of nutrients that are going to target specific channels or immunities in your body. So it combines a variety of factors supporting the immune system. So it fights it from various angles. It's funny because the whole pack itself fights the immune from a different angle, and here we have a product that in itself fights from different angles. So we're trying to safely stimulate the immune system while feeding and nourishing at the same time. So what does it contain? Colostrum. So colostrum is the first milk. So when mums give birth and then they start breastfeeding, there is a very small window there where mum produces colostrum. And these have antibodies to help the baby start to develop its own immune system. So that's colostrum. It works quite well. Beta-glucan. Beta-glucan is a product that switches on the signaling of cells. So you have memory cells, you have killer cells, you have T cells. We have all these cells running around helping fight, helping to repair. And what happens is that the communication, for whatever reason, starts to fail, and the body or the cells don't recognize things as they should. And beta-glucan tends to amplify or improve the communication channels between these cells. And so when their cells are heightened through communication, they can identify rogue cells or pathogens that are not supposed to be there. So when you're dealing with things like cancer, where the immune system's breaking down, beta-glucan will help the cells identify and increase that immune response. I think if anybody has any chronic illnesses, even down to cold sores, shingles, beta-glucan will be a must in your inventory. It works well. The people who we are getting onto the product are already coming back with great testimonies on how it's helping shift problems that have been there for a long time. It also has a proprietary blend of mushrooms. We're starting to see more and more mushrooms in the mix of nutrients to fight health issues. And so it also comes with a really great herb called astragalus. So that's going to help feed and tone the immune system. A brilliant herb. And this is almost a down under herb, an Australasian herb. The reason for that is most of the scientific data has come out of Australia. There is a gentleman there called Kerry Bones. He'd be the world's best authority on Echinacea. It is his pet project, and it has been for probably his lifetime. So as a medical herbalist, he is also a medical herbalist. So he is one of our peers that we look up to, and we're just so fortunate to have somebody like him in our backyard. His love for Echinacea is taught us so much. So in this case, it's to treat and prevent infections. So it has a very broad effect on our immune system. Vitamin C, of course, we all know what vitamin C does. It's a precursor to an antioxidant. It's going to help antioxidize our cells or help facilitate that action. Zinc, as I talked about earlier. Portiaco. Portiaco is an immune-boosting herb. It has some powerful antibacterial, antiviral properties. So it's that big sledgehammer coming down and sort of knocking these viruses or these health challenges on the head. So C effects. So it's a vitamin C-based product. But again, like Youngevity, they don't just give you vitamin C. This also comes with Echinacea. So now we've got 2 products, okay, which have Echinacea in it. You're starting to see why I see the importance of this Echinacea. Okay, so Echinacea is, I think, a must in most people's regime when it comes to looking after yourself for immunity. So vitamin C helps balance the products. It also contains the ascorbic acid, calcium, Echinacea. So we've got 2 forms of Echinacea. Kerry Bones found that when you blend the 2 together, you get a bigger response. And Echinacea also should leave a tingle in your mouth. If you take a fresh Echinacea or something where it touches your tongue, if it doesn't leave that tingly sensation, and it doesn't have a lot of the constituents that are required to fight illnesses. Okay, it's that tingle which tends to be the telltale whether you've got a good product or not. And so Kerry Bones found that one on their own was great. It dealt with 1/2 of health challenges, and then so that was the root, and the herb dealt with another part of health challenges, or they came with different actions. So when you blend the 2 together, you cover a bigger aspect of health challenges. So let's look at Echinacea more closely. So Echinacea has a complex of active substances, some of which are to be said as antimicrobe. Antimicrobe means it's antiviral, antibacterial, and antifungal. It's the word that brings all 3 of those things together. And it also has a good effect on the immune system. So look, wherever you go on the internet, if you put up Echinacea in research, there's thousands and thousands now of different types of research. And here's just one from the Kinetic School Pharmacy. They did looked over a pile of studies on how Echinacea affected people with colds, and they concluded that approximately 58% had found that they didn't get the cold, or it was reduced. And if you did get the cold, it only sort of lasted about a day and a half, or reduced it by a day and a half. So anything that can reduce. I've always said that it's easier to stop a flu or a cold, and it is to stop it in its tracks, than it is to stop it once you've got it. Okay, so the body works in 2 different mechanisms, proactive and reactive. So we can be proactive with our health. If you feel your glands are coming up, if you feel the temperature in your body starting to rise, start to reach for these immune supporting products. Because if you knock it hard straight away, there's a high chance it won't actually catch. The Echinacea is a beautiful looking plant. We managed to grow a few in our garden this year. Lovely. So today it's used widely for many health challenges, infections, illnesses, etc. So flu is just one of them. Aids in digestion, chronic fatigue, septicemia, streptococcal, syphilis, tonsillitis, urinary tract infections, and rheumatism. And these are just scratching the surface. There are so many things that Echinacea work on the body. Okay, it is a very powerful herb. Biotic. This has got to be one of my favourite all-time Youngevity products. When I say that, there's Youngevity, a lot of products I love, the PTT and Oxygen and all that. But, this is up there in the top few good products. Why? Because it works. It works so well. It's a proprietary blend. It's got bee pollen in there, so that comes from killer bees of the Colombian jungles. Okay, so it's a proprietary that brings a lot of immune compounds together. So it features Populus. Now, can't even pronounce its name. Populus is a powerful antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral, which of course I would say is antimicrobe. So these agents are collected by bees, and the populace is used around the entrance of the hive. So it's designed to keep the hive clean. So if there's any fungus blown in by the wind and that gets caught on the populace, it will die. It stops the bacteria growing in the hive. Okay, so it's the hive's natural defense system, populace. And when we use it again in herbal medicine, if somebody's having a formula and they've got a flu, there's a high likelihood would have populace in our formula. The killer biotic, it also contains colostrum. As I said earlier, that was the part that comes from mum first before normal milk comes through. Olive leaf extract, the populace, as I said. Cayenne, so that's a very warming herb. Cayenne is your peppers. Okay, garlic, and we all know the strength of garlic. Garlic is an important one. A little tip I tell people when they're trying to get medicines in children, especially garlic in children, get yourself a lovely piece of gluten-free bread, and you get some garlic, crush some garlic, put it on top of the bread, go and get yourself some dairy-free cheese, okay, and maybe a little bit of mushrooms on top, put it under the oven, toast it for a few seconds, so the gluten-free, so the dairy-free cheese is melted, and then eat. And because you put the cheese above the garlic doesn't cook, therefore it doesn't go off. What I mean by go off, garlic has a 20-minute window where it's an antimicrobe. Okay, as soon as you crush garlic, when it's fresh, there's 20 minutes to half an hour as that action starts to work. So that's when we need to be taking garlic. Okay, so you put it, crush on the toast, then they consume it, they're eating fresh garlic, and it's now going to have some kick-ass action. If you cook garlic or you leave garlic for a long period of time, it still has some great actions, but the main actions at that point come more cardio, more blood-related, rather than antimicrobe-related. It's got ginger in there, and ginger is a great stimulant. It's going to work with the digestion. It's also going to help move fluid and improve circulation through the body. And we need in circulation because we need these kick-ass herbs to get to where they need to go. And then we've got a whole pile of mushrooms, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mushrooms, okay? And so these mushrooms are specific for fighting or helping to rebuild the immune system. So let's have a look at some of these mushrooms. So these are medicinal mushrooms. The medicinal mushrooms have been used for hundreds of years, mainly in the Asian countries, for treatments of infections. But mushrooms are only now slowly being introduced into the Western world. And we're slowly catching up to where it's been used. So they've been used for hundreds of years. This is not new. You know, it's funny because this is really the main medicine, and modern medicine technically really is the alternative. It's the one which hasn't been around for very long. You know, when you start seeing medicinal plants like this used for hundreds of years. So most recently they've been used in the treatment of pulmonaries, which is lung issues, and cancer. There's a lot of research now on the cancer. Of course, we're not dealing with cancer. We call cancer problems an immune breakdown. We'll continue using immune instead of the word cancer. It's also shown to help kill a lot of bad bugs. So it has an antimicrobe effect to it. So it can work against the E. coli and the streptococcal, candida, streptococcal, there's a mouthful, all it's the same, and numerous other strains of bacteria and fungals and stuff. So it's a big fighting machine. There are more than 100 species of medicinal mushrooms. 100, that's a lot, okay? Now, the Asians, they've got a handful they mainly use, okay? And so this is when I went searching on the internet, doing my research on mushrooms, this is what came up. Turkey tail. Now remember, turkey tail was used in our product. Shishaki, also used in our product. Masaki, also used in our product. So you can see how, I'll just go back a slide, you can see, you know, the three main herbs, the mushrooms that are used for fighting cancer, so not cancers, for enhancing immune response, are the same mushrooms that Youngevity use in their product. You know, so that's telling you something. It's telling you that Youngevity are onto it. They're listening to the market and they're doing the research. They're seeing what products work. So let's just recap. Okay, so when we're dealing with health challenges, doesn't matter what they are, whether it's a cold, flu, or whether it's arthritis, we still need to identify their challenge. So we still go through and we do our 4 categories. We identify the category, we use the appropriate product and dosing, but we clean up our diet. So we look at that pack again, guys. So over the coming years, I'm going to do a lot more talks on the 4 categories, because this is your get out of jail free. It also helps your client understand their health better and how we are working with their health challenge. So get to know this. And so whatever one they rate high in, that is their main challenge. Always get them to start in digestion, okay? Because that's where that immune system starts. Use the appropriate pack, okay? You've all heard my talks about packs. I'm not going to break these down. We use the appropriate pack based on our challenge. This is where we start, guys. Don't start on just the sweeties on its own. Don't just start with the enzymes on their own. Dr. Wallach's research has shown that the body requires the 90 nutrients. That's our starting point. Then we add other components. The 90 essential nutrients is the Beyond Tangy. It's the EFA. It's the Beyond Osteo. That's where we start. And we don't need to increase until we get that sorted out. Remember, the dosing is 1 dose per 50 kgs of body weight, or 100 pounds. So if you're 100 kgs, then you've got to double most doses just to get on top of things. And then once you've achieved that, then we start looking at some of the other side products. And of course, guys, every single talk you will hear it. Clean up your diet. You know, Youngevity is certainly some of the best products on the market today. They're not cheap. You get what you pay for. You get good products, okay? But if you're spending good money on good products, you still want them to work effectively. And so the only way you're going to do that is by cleaning up your diet. Get rid of things that create inflammation. Get rid of things that slow down absorption. Dr. Wallach, Peter Glidden, and myself, we all have bad foods. Peter Glidden's is the wheat, the barley, the rye, okay? Identify these bad foods. I call them dirty food. But often now I go to a place and I talk about, oh, look at the dirty food there, just so everybody can hear me. I went to a herbal conference a couple of weeks ago, and they'd separate the food. They had the gluten, vegetarian and dairy-free on one side, and they had all the dirty food on the other side. It's amazing how many people didn't order the clean food, but when they got there, that's all they wanted to eat. Okay, so we need to improve the quality of our food. Get rid of things that create inflammation. Of course, we add dairy to this because my practice and Sally's practice and the people around me, this herbal conference I went to, all talk about foods that create allergies, which are the biggest problem in most people's health. And dairy is up there. It's number 1. Gluten would be up there, 1 or 2. Sugar is up there. Okay, so there's 3 which we add to this list. Okay, now you'll be able to download a good quality list from the new website, which is, I keep talking about it, it's starting to sound like Youngevity with their website. Okay, but our one is built and it is running, it is there. I'm just to the point now where I just need to do the good mail out where everybody can get access. So you'll be able to get all this information off our website from your members area and share it with your friends. And of course, I promised Dr. Wallach a long time ago, education was more important than product. And so I've now spent the last probably 10 years teaching people the importance of nutrition and how they can incorporate it into their diet. With the new website coming up on stream, you'll also be able to get recipes. Sally is starting to rustle up some really good healthy recipes. There'll be a good section there on vegan. That is Sally's pet food topic is vegan food. So there's going to be an awesome reference on vegan food. But yes, we'll also identify the people who still eat a little bit of dirty food. We'll try and cater for them and help them clean up their diet. To get as many tools. Education is so empowering. It takes away the fact that your friends know that you are not a medical practitioner. They know that you're a plumber, or you're a painter, or you're a builder, or you're a nurse, okay? And so these tools take away that stigma and give you more credibility. It throws it back to somebody who's been qualified to say these sorts of things. So tools are available through my office here in Hamilton. You can get tools out of Auckland, but they are retail, or you can get tools from Karen on the Gold Coast in Australia. That brings my talk to an end. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming here today. We've been talking 30 minutes, or just under 30 minutes. I will throw the floor open to questions. I can just work it all out. Okay, got a couple of questions. Epic, thank you. Okay, well, that's nice. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. Okay. So if you want to ask a question, you'll see that you're on mute. So you need to unmute yourself and then ask your question. And when you're finished, can you please remute yourself? Okay.
Hi, Kevin. It's Terry here. I was wanting to know, can you take the immune booster on as a regular part of your preventative program?
That's a good question, Terry. The answer to that is yes, you could, but you'd need to ask why. If you're trying to fight something on a regular basis, then yes, then that would be a great product to sort of help in that area. If you're talking about just wanting to help enhance your immunity, then of course we have great products for that. Just looking at, the Healthy Start Pack does that. If you have other infections you're trying to deal with, say things like cold sores that keep occurring, then yes, I live on Biotic every day. I have an issue with my sinuses where I constantly keep getting this recurring infections in my sinuses, and since I started with the Biotics, they've stopped. And they tend to come back if I run out for a little bit and allow the mucus to get back. That's because even though I'm dairy-free, gluten-free, wherever you go, there's always a bit of dairy somewhere. And I, for the life of me, cannot get away from dairy. And a lot of that's because I eat out so often, because of my travel, etc. And so just a little bit of dairy in bread or in a cake, whatever, instantly, well, it doesn't instantly, the next day, the next 2 days, it starts to come, and I end up with that mucus in my respiratory, and that allows for harboring of great bacteria. And so the Biotics has really worked and stopped that. I no longer have allergies against cats. For years and years and years, I had to stay away from cats. They just made my eyes run. But now, no issues with cats. I don't have problems with dust as much. So killing that. Does that answer your question, Terry?
Yes, that does. And there was another part to the question also. If someone's on antibiotics for whatever reason, can they use that with it as well until things are sorted?
Yeah, very much so, because there's a lot of goodness in there as well, especially when it comes to things like the herbs, the astragalus, the echinacea. So they're going to work regardless whether you're on antibiotics or not. Okay, but just remember though that the immune support is not a big whacker. Well, it's not a big blanket. It just doesn't kill everything, where an antibiotic does. So if you're having antibiotics, please remember you need to rebuild your digestion system. So that's your Flora FX or your root beer belly, or my favorite, which is a nightly essence. Okay, so feed that in there at the same time, and trying to give that extra support. Is that okay, Terry?
Yeah, thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Any other questions there? I just muted you. Did you say something, Cameron?
Not just then, mate.
Okay.
Sinusitis.
So it broke up then.
The best treatment for sinusitis that you can think of.
I think I just said it.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I was asking about. So you covered it pretty well.
Yeah. And my mum used to suffer from a nasal drip constantly. I said it was her cats, but she's had it for a very, very, very long time. And because of what I just found with myself and the kilobiotics, I put my mum on kilobiotics, and it stopped her drip. But she had a very, very mild infection in her sinuses. Okay, so kill the infection, reduces the inflammation in your sinuses, and it reduces the occurrences of what's the right when things spit the word out. Aggravate, it was the word I was looking for. Okay, so it just reduces that aggravation.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, Nathan, can you take too many kilobiotics? How many for the body's weight? That's a really good question. Can you take too many? That's a really good question, Nathan. Can you take too many? Yeah, the beautiful part about natural medicine is that the body tends to take what it needs and the rest will go through. The body, if it was going to have too much, it'll probably just give you diarrhea and indigestion. It's not going to give you any health challenges like you see with drugs. Okay, you don't see those sorts of side effects with natural medicine. And so yes, you can take them. How many? So when I've got an acute infection going, like when I was trying to get on top of things, or when I'm exposed to a pathogen, because remember I'm in a clinic, so I'm around sick people all the time. But the minute I feel my glands come up, I'll reach for anywhere between 3 or 4 every 3 hours. Now I call that practitioner dosing. Us practitioners, when we feel anything come on, we give it heat. We give it a big dose over a very short period of time. So how many could you take? I would say if you have an acute infection, 3 based on your body weight. So 3 to 4 every 3 to 4 hours for the first 2 days, then start easing back to 3 every 6 hours, and then 3 to 4 twice a day. Okay, until you wean off until you got on top of your flu. Okay, does that answer your question, Nathan? Hope so. Any other questions? That's it. Okay, so I believe on Saturday, Michelle, I want to find you, Michelle, and pop you back on. Unmute Michelle. Michelle, you're on.
Okay. Yes, this Saturday we've got Rich Stocks speaking on all the EFA products that Youngevity have. So he's doing a webinar at 1 p.m. Brisbane, Queensland time. So if it's anything like the last webinar he did, it'll be a highly professional presentation. He's, well, as you know, 21 years with Youngevity, so he's a real authority on everything. So, yeah. If anyone wants the link to that, I'll put the link on your text message in WeChat, Kevin.
Okay, thank you.
That Saturday webinar, and anybody can pick it up through the WeChat message you sent out today.
Okay, I'll make sure that goes. Or are you able just to drop it onto that Zoom one as well I sent you today? Not Zoom,
Yeah, that's the one I mean. You created a group for this webinar in WeChat. So I'll put the link for this Saturday's webinar in that group.
On WhatsApp, okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry, not WeChat. WhatsApp. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, that would be great. So, guys, so Michelle has been our team captain, putting these events on for us on Saturdays. She has got some great talkers, which we've had some great talkers. Richard Renton, which I hope to see back again in a couple more weeks. Rich Stocks had an awesome talk last time. He had to quickly end his talk because he had a prior engagement, but he's finishing off his talk this week. So please get on that. And that was one of Richard's best talks I've seen for a long time. Very informative. Michelle, can you do us Q&A at the beginning rather than the end? See if we can catch him.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm also communicating with Ben Fuchs, and Ben is going to do a webinar, but he has said it's going to be either Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon his time in America. So I've just got to work out a time that's suitable for us all to link in with him on an afternoon in the weekend time. So,
Michelle?
Yeah.
Sorry. Just wanted to know, is it going to be, the Rich Stocks one going to be recorded? No?
Yes, it will be.
Oh,
yes.
Great.
Yeah. I'm also talking to, oh gosh, he's a guy that runs the Team Challenges. Kevin, you know, the guy that called, like he had Alex Thies. Alex has said he's going to come on and train us to basically win back long-term non-buyers in our downline, because I put it to him that we heard America is ringing up people's downline who haven't purchased for a long time, and he said it didn't work for Australians because they didn't appreciate the American accent trying to sell them something. But I said, okay, so you must have a script that you can share with us. And he said, well, actually, I'd rather just come on and teach you personally. So that's in the pipeline as well. So
awesome.
lots of good stuff in the pipeline.
Awesome. And if anybody has any suggestions they would like us, or a topic or a person, we can't promise we can get them, but at least gives us a good idea that you're interested in listening to them. So we'll certainly make our effort to try and get them. We do have a good pool of people. I know Paul Croto will come on and say hello when he's asked. Cheryl Morley, he's sort of frothing at the bit to come back on and talk to us. So yeah, there's a lot of people, and of course we're working with Rich Stocks and Dr. Wallach, although I think out of all of them that won't be the one we'll be able to pull off. But hey, never say never, okay? Problem is just timing with Dr. Wallach, because he does his talks every day. When we want him to talk, he's generally either in a meeting or he's asleep, and so that creates a few problems for us. But nevertheless, we'll work on it, and we just may have to have one of these emergency webinars at sort of like 3 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon or something like that. You just never know.
Yeah.
Okay.
On that, Rich has passed on the contact details for the man who manages anything that's got a technical input about it, i.e. a webinar like what we want to run. So Rich has given me his contact details to set up a webinar with the doc. So let's hope we can get that one off the ground.
Yeah.
That'll be fantastic for all us Aussies and Kiwis.
And I think America is starting to come to terms with the fact that, we do need the Dr. Wallach down here, and if we can't get him here live as in person, then they need to work with us and create other means. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the more of us that turn up on these webinars that we're having now, the more serious these top line speakers are going to take us. When we invite them along, and they can see that we've got a regular high attendance happening, they're more I feel they're going to be more inclined to accept our invitations.
For certain, as the quality improves, with your Saturday ones now, with your guest speakers, it's becoming a must-see. And so having the quality of our talks, my talks be more specific now to conditions and products. These make it more interesting, and people, want to come on and will help it grow that way,
Yeah. Tonight's been fantastic. Thank you, Kevin. It's this pack is just amazing what Youngevity's put together here. So
yes, it's a great product. And to be really honest, it had been around for quite some time, and I really hadn't looked at it in depth to see what it was made up of. And I'm sure thanks to Bruce that he sort of made me have a look at it. I was already using the Biotic, so I'd already seen the benefits of Biotic. But once I started realising that the 911 in there and all the other stuff, wow, what a brilliant product! And as I'm a medical herbalist, this product just fits straight into my umbrella, straight under my umbrella of what we do, and keeping it all wholesome and natural,
But the whole packaging, concept. I've got one team leader, and she just puts the pack in her husband's lunchbox, because he's pretty hard to get to take his stuff. But here it is in one little sealed pack, and it's in his lunchbox. He picks it up and he has it. It's that simple.
Exactly. Just finishing on the dose on that, because it's just in the back of my head. And so remember I talked about dosing is around 50 kgs, 100 pounds. So if you want to know child dosing, work backwards with your maths. So if the child is 25 kgs, then that's half an adult's maintenance dose. If the child is only 12.5 kgs, of course, that's a quarter of an adult's dose. But remember, those are maintenance figures. Okay, so if the child has a serious health challenge, you double his maintenance dose. So the child that was on a quarter of a dose becomes half a dose, and the child which is on a half a dose becomes a whole dose. Okay, and sometimes I talk about doubling, tripling, and practitioner dosing, which is like 5 times the amount. Okay, so you can see where you can go with just short periods of time. Don't do anything too long when you're doing big numbers like that. Double, triple, quadrupling your doses. Okay.
Cool.
Well, I think that's about it now. Another meeting like this.
Yeah, great.
I know a lot of people like this meeting, so Michelle, let's talk a bit further, and guys, we will let you know.
Yep. Yeah, these product profiles, I think people are wanting more of that.
Okay. Well, let me put my thinking cap on to see how I can complement Winter Immune, okay, with another one, and maybe, because I'd like to see sort of regular events. If we've got the Saturday one, that covers extra people, then I can do one maybe in the middle of that. So we try and get a regular routine happening. And if I can't do it, if somebody else could step in for me when I'm traveling. Okay? I feel I'm waffling now, guys. So thank you so much. Okay? Love and peace. You're all doing a marvellous job. I will be back and around to see everybody when it gets warmer. Sorry, you guys down the South Island. It got a little bit too complicated down there, and then the temperature started dropping, and I'm going, why don't we wait till October? So we will go down in spring. I've just got to work out what we're doing regarding the Australia and New Zealand October tour, and I still need to finish talking to Bruce about having a conference over here in the sunshine part of Hamilton. I have no idea where that is, but I'm sure for a day we may be able to make it sunshine. Okay, and on that note, I feel we're coming up to 50 minutes on the clock. So signing off. Anybody else? Last minute?
That was great, Kevin. This is Liz.
Okay, guys, I will throw everybody. I'll stop the recording.